An investigation is underway into the treatment of cattle transported across Cook Strait yesterday after photos have emerged of cows appearing emaciated in the full sun with their ribs protruding. The Ministry for Primary Industries has confirmed to Checkpoint it is investigating and won't comment any further. It's understood the cattle were destined for an abattoir, but Ben, who was on board the ferry between Picton and Wellington yesterday, says they were in no condition to travel and it was an incredibly upsetting sight.
There was a bunch of cattle trucks. There was one with the shade cloths open, so they have these shade cloths that sit over top to shield the animals from the sun, I guess. I don't actually know, but that's what it looked like. And the one that had the shade cloths open, you could see pretty bony cows in there. And I could just make out through a lot of the other shade cloths as well that there was a good number of cows in fairly similar conditions, but I just couldn't get a good picture of them. When
you say bony cows, Ben, can you tell us a bit more about what you mean by that?
I grew up on a dairy farm, and it was a pretty small farm with not too much. Like, it wasn't a big industrial system like most of the farms are these days. So I know what a fairly healthy cow looks like, and I know when they're looking really hungry and just sort of emaciated, I guess. And these cows looked fairly emaciated, like had bones sticking out, and you could see every individual rib, and just sort of bones everywhere, really. It was just like bones with skin on it.
And so how many of the cattle appeared to be in that condition?
Well, on that truck alone, I think there was, it looked like 12 of them on the top story and a multi-story truck, so I'm guessing there would have been, I don't know, 24 on that truck, maybe, possibly more.
And what did you think of the condition they were in?
Yeah, I know a little bit about how the dairy industry works, and I'm not naive enough to think that that never happens. Like, I understand that that's how it goes, but it's really unfortunate and upsetting that that is how the system works. It's really unfortunate that cows can get to the stage where they're that unhealthy. Like, it's the cow equivalent of that, the little child in the famine with his belly sticking out and just bones everywhere. And yeah, it's just upsetting that humans treat cows like commodities, and as soon as they stop making money, they don't get looked after, they get sent to the works. It's just this, like, I don't know, it's just depressing, you know.
Where do you think they were headed, or do you know where they were headed?
I found out, I had no idea where they were headed until just recently. I found out they were bound for the abattoir, so they're on the way to get killed. But yeah, it's just a shame it's good that they're kind of getting put out of their misery, to be honest. But it's a real shame that they were even allowed to get to that condition to start with.
Yeah, because some people might think that obviously they were headed to the abattoir. Maybe this was a farmer doing the right thing and culling a herd that they didn't have the feedstock for. But do you think that they had left it too late to be doing this?
If a farmer has to cull off a bunch of cows because they don't have enough feed, then they're doing something wrong with their farming. And I think that sort of thing will happen a lot if you've got major industrial farming things, which is what we've got all over New Zealand now. These farmers pushing their soil and their grass to the limits of what it can handle. Sorry, go with the extra wind. To the limits of what it can handle. And therefore, when you get a bad season, there is nowhere near enough food to feed all your cattle. Farmers need to plan for bad seasons, which are going to happen more and more often as things change around the world.
What would you like to see happen, Ben?
I think on an overall scale, I'd like to see a lot less industrial farming in New Zealand. It's just destroying so much, and it's putting cows into horrible situations and destroying our waterways and adding to climate emissions and all these kinds of things. And I think reducing the herd numbers and managing farms properly can fix a whole lot of that kind of stuff.
And that was Ben. He was on a ferry between Picton and Wellington yesterday and took photos of those cows, which he says were incredibly emaciated. MPI is investigating. If you would like to see what Ben is talking about, that story will go up on our webpage and Facebook page, so you can check it out. They are disturbing pictures.